Hey dude, good morning slash afternoon. I'm actually making something right now, so I figured I would just record it. I made a classic mistake today where I printed this. It's a simple thing that I needed today, and I was like, man, I'm gonna just make one. It's a little hanger for my jacket. I wanted one with two, one for my hoodie, one for my over jacket, right? And I took the lazy way out. I rarely do this, but I have a lot. I thought I had a lot going on. Now I've slowed down. I just decided to slow down. But anyway, I took the lazy way out and I printed a model that somebody else made. I did look up the measurements of my door. Should be about, 35 millimeters here. Turns out would be better from here to here on the inside. And what I didn't consider is the height of this one here doesn't fit in my door frame. Like, immediately I just started encountering problems. I should have designed one in the first place. I should not have taken the lazy way out, but I did. So I'm just gonna make one really quick. I'm just gonna take the time and know how to record it. This is too tight at 34. Really, I think 35 millimeters would be better. By the way, planning on extruding or making small things, just go ahead and start thinking in metric, teach yourself millimeters, and it's the standard, it's more precise, and it's better. So, and then the height of this needs to be a little more, I don't know what this is. I want to say this is probably about 4 millimeters in height right now. It is 4. I mean, 1 is not ideal. 2 is usually pretty safe for something of this nature. I'm gonna go 2 on the top. But anyway, we're gonna make this really quick. Sorry, I know that opening was 2 minutes long, but we'll start with a sketch on the top plane. I like working on the top plane. This is your model of, like, you can draw wherever you want and extrude. Like, you could draw on the front here. I work top down because it feels like a piece of paper. Actually, I don't always work top down. It really depends on what the nature of this. The nature of what needs to exist is that I can extrude it effectively just in the Z dimension. Like, I can draw it like this and just bring the model up. You know what I mean? There's no reason to really, I don't think I'll even need to use more than one plane here. So since I don't need to use more than one plane, I default to the top plane. So I feel like I'm drawing on a piece of paper. We would, again, I want that to be, this doesn't need to be exact. We can define it in a minute. So that should be about 35. I can use this model because I think otherwise this goes down about 120 millimeters, and I think that's good. So about 120. And then down here, about, that could be 5, honestly. You can define these as you see fit. I have a lot of hotkeys set up and stuff, so for dimension, I use D. You can see this changing. You have your tools up here. I think dimension, I don't even think I have dimension up here because I have it assigned to D. But I click D to define a line for how wide I want it to be. I wanted this to be 35 instead of 34. I wanted this to be 120. This is already constrained, frankly. Constrained means it can only print one way because it's clearly defined. So this, for example, the line over here, you see how it's blue? That can be moved around, and the software or the 3D printer or whatever you're using would not know where to put that line. That line, not only is it this, that it's 30 millimeters long, now it's defined for how long it is, but not where it's supposed to be. And if you put it here, that still doesn't really define it. I could constrain this to this line. And now it is, the software would know that it needs to come off of that line, but it still doesn't understand the y-axis. The y-axis could be defined against another line like this. Like you could say, I want that to come out 69 millimeters down. Now it's defined. Now it knows where that line is supposed to be. So that's kind of the quick and dirty of constraining. And then, so I've got a few options. I could thin extrude this right now. I'm going to put these like tails on it in a second, or I can go ahead and do that now. Extruding means bringing it into the third dimension. We can extrude this. I don't want to like make this super long. I intended for this to be helpful for you. So if we extrude, you see the different options here. Like if we extrude, we can't extrude this as a solid because it's just lines. To extrude it as a solid, I would need to go like this, and then this, and this, and this, and close it. And then I could extrude it as a solid because it has enough dimensions to be a solid. When it's just a line, you can just extrude it as a thin and decide how, right now it's standard set to 5 millimeters. I could set that to 10 millimeters. The reason I'm not going to extrude it as a line is because I want different, actually I could, because remember I want this to be 2. So here's the problem. When I extrude it thin, if I set this to 2, it's all going to go to 2. And I would like for this to be like 4 and this to be 4, but just this to be 2. Especially because 4 will bite into 2 over more of an area. Like 4, if I have this at 2 millimeters and this at 5 millimeters, 5 millimeters will bite into the 2 over more surface area on either side, making it more stable. Setting this to 2 is already like compromising integrity, but I need it to fit in the door jamb. I need it to fit over the door, and it doesn't close. That's part of the problem with this little model. So, incidentally, I'm making this for just a colleague of mine, who works for me, who wanted to have some questions about this. I might also just post this on YouTube because I feel like this could be helpful for anyone getting into Onshape or CAD design in general. So a few ways you could do this. You could just extrude just this as 2. And by the way, do you see that that just changed? So let's just take that one more time as if we were extruding it. You've got a directional thing here too. Remember, we want this inside gap to be 35 millimeters. And I have that line drawn at 35 millimeters. So if you let this be inverse, that's no longer 35. That's 35 minus 2 minus 2. That's 31 in that gap right now. So be mindful of this. It's like a kind of a rookie mistake I made when I first started doing this. That would be what you would want. But again, what we could do is we could just extrude it. We could do a thin extrusion here, right? And then we could do a second extrusion. Anytime you start a new extrusion, it's going to hide the last sketch for you. You can unhide that sketch and extrude on the same sketch again. It's just a default Onshape setting, something you learn. But now we can extrude this one. You see that? You see how we have a gap here? So we could extrude these two. Again, look at this. Look what I've done. This is not 35 if that goes inward. And when you're doing, you have to do, this is the problem. This is why I knew this intuitively, but didn't. I wouldn't have extruded this as thin models because it would require 3 extrusions, technically. Because when you're extruding parallel lines, it always wants to go one direction or the other. If you add a top to it, you can go outward or inward. That's sort of a, I don't know why my camera is doing all this wonky focus stuff, but usually when I move around, it refocuses on my face, whatever it is. I guess my face is not the important part. So I wouldn't have done this then, because now what I would have to do is I would have to do an extrusion here, and I have to do, like, here, I'll just do it. I'll go through the annoying motions. I would do this, then I would extrude again, over here, and I would go outward. Sorry, I would have made this 4. I think that, actually, honestly, 3 is probably good for a coat hanger, which is kind of what we're trying to make. And you still have breaks here. This is 3 separate pieces. That's why they're different colors here. You have to go back to that original one. Those 2 or 3 now. You have to go back to this one. And this is only extruded outward. I guess you could, this now needs to be longer, this line. This is not a good, if you want these to be different, you might as well, we'll just learn, go back to the sketch. We're gonna do, instead of a thin extrusion, we're gonna define and do a solid extrusion. That would be the right solution here anyway. So we're just gonna define some more lines. We're just gonna, it's actually easier. We'll just draw. This will be 4, and then this will be 4 plus 2. The reason I wrote that longer is because, like, if I don't want to get too into the weeds. Like, if I made this parallel, it would have constrained it, thinking it wanted to be like perpendicular to this line. So anyway, that should be by default like 2 millimeters. You see this kind of locks into place when it's parallel. I didn't want it to do that with this line, so I went far past it and then defined it back to 6. So this, we'll just leave that one floating up there, that blue one. That's not defined yet for how long it is. We want this one to be 4. Oops. I'll also, I should do another video to teach you about construction lines and stuff. I don't really need construction lines with this one. That's lines that are not going to be part of the drawing, but that you use to, you can still use them to define things. Like, I want this perpendicular to this, but I don't want it connected, sort of thing. Whoops. Oh my god, I fat fingered something. So you can just drag this up to like here. And since it's constrained as a parallel, you see this parallel constraint? That's what that means. That means it's parallel constrained. I know it's a lot to take in. Most of the stuff I'm telling you will come intuitively over time. I can just constrain these 2. And since this is already constrained to parallel, it brings it up into that 90-degree angle by default. If I had this just a bit off either way, that would not work. But again, try not to over. Honestly, 3 millimeters might be good, but I mean, this is a flat surface. I am printing this in PLA, just because I like this really nice little wood tone for my door hanger, and I don't have it in PETG. This would be better in PETG, but my jackets are not that heavy. We can go on to define. Again, we're just kind of, this is not a bad model overall. It would have, if it had been, it just doesn't fit my door correctly. So I'm just kind of going off of this model. I don't know who made this or what, but they have the top of this one about, the first one about 25. Like, there's no reason for me to, about 25 millimeters up. This is a good use of a construction line. I can turn this into a construction line by hitting Q. Yeah, it's like this. This is now a construction line. It's not part of the drawing, but it helps me define a measurement. So if I just put it here, it's going to be blue, but it's on this line, so it can slide up and down. And now I just define that I want it up 25 millimeters. Okay. From there, this comes out. This is a good. This is good. This will come out like, we want the gap to be about 20 millimeters. So we'll just come out 20. And then we'll come up. That is at like a, it's at an angle. And I think it's better at an angle. These actually should probably be a second drawing. So store. Oh God, let's just delete this really quick, and we'll make a second drawing. And this. Let's extrude this. You could also name things like this is, let's just say, hook. That's a hook drawing because it has a pencil beside it. It's a drawing. This one's about 30 millimeters thick, and I think that's a good thickness. So we're going to extrude it as a solid for 30 millimeters. Doesn't really matter which way, up or down at this point. That's your hook. All right. Oops. Oh, no, and you can also name that's your hook extrusion. So hook drawing, hook extrusion. That's how I like to organize mine. I don't know how other people do it. So then we'll do a second drawing on the same plane, which is the top plane. We'll actually draw right on the face of this and extrude downward 20 millimeters, or 30, whatever I said. It was 30. So now we'll take that construction line that we were going to do earlier. We'll draw it here of 30. And then you will go out, what did I say, 20 is what they did in this other one. 20. And then, because I'd like to do this one as thin, that's why I want this to be solid. Or do I? I could just, but all right, let's just go up. I'm just gonna keep working. I'm not gonna try to. We're gonna go up 10. What they have here, and it's good. Again, I chose this one because I liked the design. It just has a few things that are just barely off for me. So I am, like, full disclosure. I don't know who made this on Bamboo. But no offense, this is a great design, and I am fully plagiarizing it. I don't lay claim to this design at all. I'm just making it my own a little bit. I'm tweaking it a little bit. It's a remix. I'm not publishing it other than to show people how to do. Show my friend, and then I guess I might put this on YouTube. So anyway, now we'll come out. I want to do this one thin. We'll use I think we'll use 3-point arc here, probably. Back there. What was this distance? It was 30. So let's go from here to here at 15. And then let's make this. That would be a. That I'm looking at it, I don't know. Then it needs to go the opposite direction. Ooh. Yeah, it's not gonna work as well as I thought. I didn't think about that, so that's fine. So what we can do here is go back to the sketch. It's good that I'm actually like kind of making some mistakes, so you can see how I would solve them. We're gonna do this little guy is called an offset. We're gonna do it in the opposite direction. Hello. Find the letter key. Offset, opposite direction. We'll go, where do we go? 4 on that? What was it, 4? Yeah, 4. Yeah, that's good. that defined as 90. And then just bring it. It's kind of weird. I think I should not have made these offset because otherwise it's going to create a perfect circle and never run into it. Instead, I should have or rather, I should have offset it the other way. That way, by 4. Okay. Oops. This just needs to go to here. This just needs to go to here. Those define themselves. This goes across. The height's 4. That was 4 over there, right? Did we do 4 on this? You could also just measure this distance. Yeah, it's 4. And then 4 out here. Everything full. Kind of a, that's kind of a bad drawing, honestly, but. And then, just to make this pretty, and so we don't have to do extra steps, I would fillet this. We'll go in, I think probably more like, what's it set to? Why is that? Fillet? Oh. No. That's weird. Why is this? Why is that busted? Oh my god. Sorry. This means that you have a conflict in your constrained model. And I think it's coming, like when I put this in, when I did it, something here, this affecting that line, this. Hello. Get out of here. Why? Something here is creating a conflict. I actually don't know why that was doing that, so whatever. But this is why that fillet wasn't working correctly. Alright, so we're gonna fillet this to make it pretty. Whenever you see this on your sketch, this little blue, that means it's not fully defined. Depending on the scenario, that could be a big problem. Right now, I don't see any glaring errors that would cause this not to print correctly. So for this, I'm gonna actually try to go. So hoping that wouldn't happen. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll fix it after. I want this to be like, look, but not sharp. I almost wish that I could show you now linear patterns, because we could do an identical hook, an identical like drawing up a certain distance, right? I mean, I could just show you. You could do this and do a linear pattern, or and decide that you want to go up instead by 2, and then go right by 1 so it doesn't, and then set the distance here to 5. Yeah, you could just do another hook. But I want the top hook to stick out further, so I'm not going to do that. But that's what it would look like. Instead, I'm going to copy these sketch entities and paste here. Top one, we want it to be more like 30. And then for distance, we'll go, it's not bad where it is. I mean, I guess it's, again, 40 from here to here. That's good, so we'll extrude that. Man, this video is 30 minutes long, sorry. Go the other way, where we said 30. It's the width of this thing, yes. Go this. That's not defined, that's why it's not doing it. So let's see what's not defined about it. Oh, it's right here. And here, I think. Which means this one will have the same problem. That's still not why it's not defined, actually. That doesn't matter, that's fine. I don't know why. Doesn't matter, though. It's going the wrong way right now, so go the other way. 30. This same extrude can be down here. Why? Select other, need a line on a line. I need where is it? I'm trying to get have a line right here. Kind of weird. I could honestly just put another line, I think, to here. Why is it doing that? This is like good teaching. That's what it is. It's good that it's with you. I guess you need to be right where you are. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. Again, I wanted to I guess, sorry, not quite. I wanted to chamfer. I think I can control that angle. So the better way to do it would be to just, you can also do extrudes to remove things. So we'll draw again. We'll go from here to the middle, because why not? That's a good thing. It keeps it not very sharp. That, and the same thing here, to the middle. The middle also just automatically clearly defines it for you, which is nice. Leave that. We could name these, and we could name these extrude as a remove for these. Make sure it's 30. That's about all I needed. I mean, you know what? Actually, there was one other thing I wasn't totally happy with. You can't see it, but I have like panels in my doors. And actually, it came down just a little too far. Since we're fixing it, comes down about 5 millimeters too far. So let's take 5 off the total length. And then one more thing. So just to make it a little prettier, we'll take this down to 115 total length. And then I definitely want to fillet. You can fillet outside of drawings as well. I want to fillet this one to match these. I think I had these at 3. That looks right. It looks right, but also if we put it at 4, it's even prettier. So let's go back into our hooks. think I just can't work while I'm like talking out loud. Kind of messes me up. Same thing with like when I used to stream, where I can't play video games and talk out loud, so I stopped streaming. Cannot multitask. As a caveat to this video, I think some people think it's like shameful to not be able to multitask, but personally, I'm really good at single tasking, so it's a trade-off. Like, multitaskers are, unpopular opinion, multitaskers are slackers. You can't, like, multitasking, you can't do anything at 100% if you're multitasking. And I like doing things as perfect as I can do them. This looks crazy thin to me. And I have half a mind. This is pretty, don't you think? You guys think it's pretty? I think that's a good door hook for my coats. It's a 37-minute video. Sorry, guys. I think I might go over there and measure because I'd like, it's going to be probably an hour print, and I'd like as much stability up here as possible. And that looks thin. I'm not very tall, so this is kind of annoying to have to. Oh, actually, if you shut it. All right, let's see what we got here. You know what? That's not going to be. I need to see it from the outside. My dogs aren't going to be happy about me shutting this door. Stay, baby. I know you guys want this video to be over, but we're like, this is the process. This is what you have to be okay with. All right. First of all, I think that 3 will be okay. So we can go to 7 here, but I don't think 4 will be okay. With our fillets has other no, it doesn't. That's fine. I just think that actually I don't know. We'll see. This one probably needs to go to 3. Which actually means that this would be prettier at 3. It doesn't matter. Fillets at 4. I will leave it at 4. That's it. I think that'll probably go in the door jamb. So from here, let's just make the document pretty so you would see. I just don't like the numbers. Whatever fillet. And then this will be a coat hanger rip off. Make sure I name it a rip off so 3 years from now I don't think I came up with it. I mean, it's pretty basic geometry. Like, this isn't the Mona Lisa I'm ripping off here, but this is basic structural design too, to give these supports. Still, it's not my design. I want to be clear about that. Did not come out of my brain. Anyway, from here, I feel like another thing I wish I knew when I first started. Also, I want to rename this. Whoops. My little HUD in the way here. I'm going to rename this what it is. Coathanger. I wish somebody had taught me this too, how to actually fucking export something. I never mess with these now that I have them the way they want. Definitely millimeter for the type of stuff I do. As an STL, you export this. It won't always come out in the most efficient print position. So once it's in bamboo, this one did. That's how we want to print it on the side like that. Oh, we have this bug happens. sometimes. Best way I think to get rid of it is to drag this to my other monitor. And then okay. No, that's I just changed that. That's wrong. We don't want it to print like that. You can print like this, just so you know about 3D printing. You would need supports. So if you print like this, you would get an error about floating cantilever. And then what you would have to do is enable supports. But this is a waste. This is what that would look like. This is how much filament you would use. And it would take an hour and a half like this, and then you have to break those trees off. No reason to do that. Reason when you can just print it outside. Just like this, that should be supports. It prints in 39 minutes with less filament used. Make sure you are on the right printer that you want to use. I want to use my A1. Switch it here, A1, and cut it in the, or select it in the actual filament you wanted to use. Like that was set by default to just standard PLA. I said PLA would change things just a little bit here. That's pretty much it. Into the printer. I'll probably add something to the video or something. Show you what it looks like, maybe. Because it's going to count. I don't really need to. That's it. Where's my little recording thing?